June 17, 1982. PC David Hay leaves Harrogate on a routine call, a summons for a poacher in the Washburn Valley. He never radios back. When colleagues find him, the car door is still open. One bullet to the head. No witnesses, no suspect. Just a fake name scribbled on his clipboard. For the next 18 days, over 1,000 officers from 12 forces couldn't find the man who did it. He was living in the ground beneath their feet. Barry Prudhomme wasn't a career criminal. He was an electrician from Leeds who got married, had 2 sons, and in 1969 walked into one of the most demanding military programs in the world, the 23 SAS Territorial Army. He nearly made it through. He reached the final initiative test, something most recruits never see. He failed it. The Army discharged him as temperamentally unsuitable. The skills were there, the obedience wasn't. Through the 1970s, his marriage collapsed. He drifted through oil rigs in Saudi Arabia, Canada, and the US, and came back a different man. People who knew him stopped using the word difficult and started using dangerous. While in America, he got hold of a Beretta .22 pistol and smuggled it back into Britain. January 1982, arrested in Leeds for beating a motorist with an iron bar. He posted bail and walked away from his court date. A warrant was issued. Nobody found him. 5 months later, PC Hay wrote a name on his clipboard and got a bullet for it. Prudhomme gave Hay a false name that morning, but his real date of birth, a small crack he didn't know he'd left. After the shooting, he burned his car in a cornfield near Ledsham and disappeared north. 6 days later, he was in Nottinghamshire. He robbed an elderly couple, shot George Luckett dead, wounded Luckett's wife, bound them both at the elbows. Then he stole their car, swapped the plates, and drove straight back into Dalby Forest, 8,000 acres of dense North Yorkshire woodland. On June 24th, a routine vehicle check near Scarborough. Dog handler P. C. Ken Oliver asks him to step out. Prudhomme draws and shoots Oliver in the face. The dog attacks him. Prudhomme shoots the dog twice. Both survive. He smashes the radio, torches the car, and walks back into the trees. Police raid his Leeds address. They find a heavily annotated copy of a survival manual, No Need to Die, by Eddie McGee, a former SAS instructor. They also find out Prudhomme attended McGee's courses in person. June 28th. Old Malton. 200 yards from the local police station, Sergeant David Winter challenges him on the street. Prudhomme shoots him at point-blank range. Fires at a journalist. Fires at a BBC News crew. Walks away, 3 people dead. No capture, no sighting, nothing. The response was unlike anything British policing had ever assembled. 1,000 officers on foot, 100 armed marksmen. RAF helicopters running heat sweeps over Dalby Forest. Entire villages sealed off. Prudhomme was underneath all of it. He dug survival holes, shallow earthen hides that let search parties walk directly over him. He moved through streams to strip his scent from the dog units. He walked backward over his own tracks, circled routes, created false loops. Every technique was from his SAS training and from McGee's manual, the same manual sitting on the evidence table at the incident room. Eventually, the chief constable made the call that said everything about the situation. He brought Eddie McGee in directly. The man, whose book Prudhomme was using to hide, was now the only person they trusted to find him. McGee's own sons were serving officers in Yorkshire at the time. By July 3rd, Prudhomme was falling apart. Starving, clothes rotting off him, the cordon around Malton getting tighter every day. He walked into a family home in the town, stepped out of the dark, and told them quietly he was staying the night. He sat with them for 11 hours, ate a meal he called his last supper, talked about his training and his feelings about the police, called the father of the house Dad. When he finally left before dawn, he tied them loosely enough to free themselves and left his U.S. Army paratrooper's ring on the table. Then he ran one final move. He laid a heavy trail heading out toward open countryside, doubled back on his own footprints, and crawled into a timber bunker he'd already built beside the Malton Tennis Club, yards from where police were coordinating the search. He lay there, listening to them. 2 hours later, the family freed themselves and called it in. Armed. Response flooded Malton. The trail pointed the wrong direction and went cold immediately. McGee didn't look for footprints. He looked at the grass. Near a timber pile beside the tennis club, the morning dew was slightly off, a patch of green sitting just a shade different from everything around it. McGee stopped the firearms team, told them the man was in there. He reached in with a probe to confirm. Prudhom's foot shot out and knocked him back. McGee stood up and said quietly, "He's there." Police opened fire. The inquest later confirmed 21 shotgun pellet wounds to Prudhom's body, but the shot that ended it wasn't from a police weapon. Prudhom put his own Beretta to his head. The jury deliberated 18 minutes. Unanimous verdict, suicide. Police Constable David Hay, George Luckett, Sergeant David Winter, 3 people who didn't make it home because of one man with military training, a smuggled pistol, and a book on survival techniques. Memorials to Haig and Winter now stand in North Yorkshire. The Prudhom case pushed British policing to completely overhaul how it handles armed fugitives. The armed response units operating today exist in part because of those 18 days in 1982. And what finally brought him down wasn't the helicopters or the heat sensors or the 1,000 officers on foot. It was a date of birth, written on a dead man's clipboard on a quiet morning in June. If this case got under your skin the way it got under mine, hit subscribe. I cover the cases that actually change things, and there's more coming. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read all of them. Thanks for watching.